So, a little background first. The Huffington Post's Christopher Mathias recently published a story about an arrest carried out by some uniformed thugs in Spokane, Washington. As we have been hearing out of the Pacific Northwest and elsewhere, they did not have on any clear markings. They refused to identify who they worked for when they were carrying out this arrest. And it seemed rather politically motivated because the guy who got arrested was Jeremy Logan, co-chair of the Spokane DSA, who was on his way to a protest, and they picked him up on a many years old warrant from a different county. Now, this is not new, I should say. Some people quite near and dear to me had their house raided around the time of Occupy Wall Street on May Day and got hassled and arrested on old open container warrants. They rifled through their stuff, tried to find out what activism they were associated with, et cetera, et cetera. Nevertheless, concerning that this is going on, right? So,
right.
So to compound this, this butt hurt, right? So I should say there's can we put up the quotes from the story? Because when asked for comment, when reached for comment, or no, they did not actually give this comment to Huffington Post, but the cops are quoted in the story expressing their chagrin that somebody would be reporting on these kinds of activities. And they said, quote, next one. Yes, in a separate statement, the sheriff, Ozzy Knezovich, lashed out at the Huffington Post for writing the story, saying, quote, I know it is difficult for the Huffington Post to understand the rule of law. They seem to have forgotten we are a country of laws. They've also forgotten their duty to our country to provide unbiased, factual reporting per the protections provided by the Constitution of the United States. Boo effing who? Are you guys enjoying these fascist tears yet? Well, the story gets even better. Okay, so a guy named Chris Caesar, who is a bit of a prankster. We used to work together at Death and Taxes, actually, which was a very silly website blog once upon a time, wrote an email to the sheriff of Spokane saying, Sir, I have some important intelligence to share about Antifa that I wanted to share with law enforcement. They fucking rock. Thank you, sir. Chris Caesar. So, just like a pretty innocent prank. And then there's more. Another email asking him, are you free for a call? So I guess
this is from the sheriff.
So I guess they didn't really get the part where he said they effing rock. I don't know. Or maybe they just wanted to get him on the phone so they could trace him. And Chris said, LOL, no, I have a real job, unfortunately. He also appended a SpongeBob meme. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yep, don't get to the SpongeBob yet.
Sheriff said, well, you proved one point. True journalism is truly done. And then he said, oh, and thanks for the great optic / talking for my podcast / radio show and press conference.
Okay,
Counter own.
I got to say, I sort of respect the sheriff now because, as all good podcasters do, always mining the real world for content. So this sheriff has a podcast, apparently.
Yeah, I was going to say when I first looked at these, I thought it was Chris that saying it was for his podcast, but no, because I thought he's the one who has a podcast. Let's cite Chris's podcast. This is Awful Pod. But yeah, so this apparently the sheriff is in the podcast business is a competitor. So
pod. I mean, you got to fight podcasts with podcasts, and as we all know, it is podcasts are a major recruitment and radicalization tool of Antifa. So I guess it makes sense.
This sheriff, apparently, when that Huffington Post piece came out, he held like a 45-minute press conference or something like that. So I mean, this is clearly someone who likes to hear them.
He's a media guy.
We're getting to that. So the pièce de résistance in this is the SpongeBob meme that Chris Caesar has attached to his email. Because, the sheriff said he was going to have a press conference, and Chris Caesar said, well, here's a live picture of that press conference, and it is a meme where the character SpongeBob is depicted with the words, "Well, you proved one point. True journalism is truly done," in the, the letters that change capitalization,
uppercase, lowercase,
which is designed to depict idiocy.
Can anyone throw in a SpongeBob chuckle so we could put a period on this one?
Well, actually, no. There's
so much more. So now he's mad, right? He's mad. He's owned. He's not owned. He's laughing. Okay. And he has a 45-minute long press conference about this article, wherein he uses as examples of media bias these prank emails he received from Chris Caesar, including the SpongeBob meme. So what does that say about our law enforcement, that they can be driven practically to tears by a few innocent emails and a meme of a cartoon character from a show made for children and adult stoners?
All right. Also, this guy doesn't look like your typical podcaster.
This is another from an individual. And Daniel, I'm going to give you the entire slide deck so you don't have to worry about it. This individual, Chris Caesar, says that he's worked in for the Washington Post, Boston Globe, a few others.
Says his work has appeared in those places. Different distinction, but
sent me this saying, "Hey, have some intelligence to share about Antifa. They effing rock. You tell me that the media isn't biased towards Antifa or in favor of. These are journalists, folks." So I said, "Hey, you free for a call?" And he laughs and says, "No, I have a real job." Not the first time I've heard that slam. Job becomes really real when you have a baby die in your arms.
Oh, God.
Yes, people don't remember or realize what your law enforcement does for you.
They kill babies, yes.
Nice optic. They sent me that. These are journalism. These are journalists. National, Washington Post type.
Yeah, Washington Post type. Wonder what that type is.
I mean, yeah, we should just say Chris Caesar is a podcaster. The This Awful Podcast. Not a Washington Post
journalist.
I can't wait for law enforcement to start going after podcasters directly as enemy number one of the people.
Well, it's funny that they think before going to just rounding us up, they're going to try to compete with us on the battlefield of ideas by launching their own podcast.
Yeah, bring it on, bitches.
Yeah,
we're ready.
Oh my gosh! I guess we need to listen to the sheriff's podcast.
I think we do.
Yeah. I've given myself some homework, but I'm going to do that over the
If it's as hilarious as that little bit he just did, I am signing up on Patreon.
What if they do cold opens?
Oh my God, I would love to see that.
You think they work on the bits? I mean, you think they're talking about it? And then you'll come in with a real funny impression. And oh boy.